I like to think of marketing as like being the invitation, right? So marketing is the tool that helps you get your brand out there, that lets people know you exist, if you will. Your brand is like the persona, like who your organization is, and also like who we are. So we have our business, like the company brand, and then each individual has their brand too. That we want that to be in aligned with our organization, obviously. And then sales is really about building that relationship. So sales is the connector between marketing and like being a client. So they're the ones that get to know the potential client on an intimate level, that build the relationships, that when we're in like professional services, that figure out exactly what it is wanted in.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Own Your Brand Show. I'm your girl, Victoria Odekumaya, and I am really excited about today's episode. I know I say that all the time, but truly I am excited because I'm talking to Rebecca Bormann of Rebecca Bormann Consulting. She is a sales expert, and I think that a lot of people, when they see me or the people that know me, they're like, wow, you have such a wonderful energy. And, they love my personality, my energy. But let me tell you, Rebecca's energy is, whoo, I love it. That's what I think makes this conversation so enjoyable because our energy was just so, on point. We were feeding off of each other. And I really think that's what sales should be like or should feel like, right? A lot of people are worried and they're like, sales, they feel sales can be cringy. But when you bring a lot of energy and positivity and just good intention to it, like it just makes it so different, right? And makes sales easier. So um today I really hope that this conversation really helps you out, especially when it comes to your sales, and just enjoy our energy because it was really really amazing. So but make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, obviously, because I love to hear from you. I don't say that a lot, but I really want to hear from you. How are you really enjoying this episodes? Like what should I be doing more of or less of? But yeah, without much ado, let's get into it. Rebecca, for joining us today. I am so excited to have you because there's a lot to talk about sales, marketing, and this is where I loved, I'm in branding. So, like, this is like I'm at home right now.
Yes, I'm so
So,
excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
oh, absolutely. You're a wealth of knowledge. I see all your activity on on LinkedIn. And one of the things that I'm jumping ahead right now, but I have to say this. I love your energy. I feel like we're like kindred spirit. Like, I just love it so much. So, well, before we go into it, I know this conversation is going to be a great one. Tell us a little bit about you, about your business. And yes, let's start with that.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I agree. Like, we definitely, our energy, like, totally vibes. And branding, sales, marketing, communications, like, it all goes hand in hand. So I'm so excited to like chat with you today. So I'm Rebecca Bormann. I'm excited to be here. I've spent my career in business development, marketing, and sales leadership. For most of my career, I was spent with the time in the technology world working on complex global technology solutions. And I've now formed my own consulting company because I want to help other people grow their business and be comfortable selling. So, if you don't mind, to give a little example of what I do, a lot of times when organizations are ready to grow and like accelerate their growth, they don't have a sales strategy. So what they
Mm.
do is a whole bunch of marketing tactics, but then they wonder like, why aren't we getting more sales? So I come in to help them from both an emotional intelligence and a strategy perspective on how do we take sales and marketing and communications and PR and like build out a plan that's actually going to grow your sales and your revenue.
That's amazing. This is why I'm loving this conversation today because the truth is that marketing is different from sales. Branding is also different. And for some reason, especially for small business owners, it seems like we don't know enough, right? And we think it's all the same, right? So tell us a little bit about the differences between all of that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I would love to. Yes. So I like to think of marketing as like being the invitation, right? So marketing is the tool that helps you get your brand out there, that lets people know you exist, if you will. Your brand is like the persona, like who your organization is, and also like who we are. So we have our, we have our business, like the company brand, and then each individual has their brand too. That, we want that to be in aligned with our organization, obviously. And then sales is really about building that relationship. So sales is the connector between marketing and like being a client. So they're the ones that get to know the potential client on an intimate level, that build the relationships, that when we're in like professional services, that figure out exactly what it is wanted and needed and how to deliver that. And then they get to close the sale and then also maintain and grow that relationship. So
Yes.
yes, I think of kind of like marketing is like the invitation and sales is the host, like once you get to the party.
I love that. I love that. That is so, yeah, that's that helps to understand it. So I know when we talk about sales, sometimes it's like, cringy, right? To even think about selling, but you do this so well. I mean, I've seen you in action. So I know you got, and one of the things that I want to talk about today is like your sales strategy, because you have a class, you have cohorts that host. So we'll get there, but like, when we come to sales, what are some of the things that we could do to make it less cringy?
Uh, Thank you for asking that question, and I love it. So I think one of the reasons that sales can feel kind of cringy or icky is because there seems to be this thing in the sales industry that it's about turning a no into a yes. I think that is incorrect. I think what sales is about finding our yes and helping them see that we're the solution, that we provide value, whether that's solving a problem, elevating something to a different level. So it's not about turning a no into a yes, it's just finding that yes.
I love that so much because it also goes into knowing who your target audience are. Like if you know them so well, you know what their problems are, you have the words to communicate how you can provide those solutions. Like sales should be like easy because you're like
That's
just
right.
providing. Oh my God.
That's
You're
right.
speaking my language right now.
Okay, you'll love this. So, a really good friend of mine, his name is Daryl Johnson. He's actually the president of Mid States now, and he and I got to work together years ago. And he says that a sale is a natural conclusion to a good conversation, and I think that is spot on.
That is so spot on. Like, I mean, like, and it's like you just people. Oh God, I don't even know. I don't have any other words to describe what you just said because it's perfect, right? You're talking about, what you do, how you can help people. Like when you say it, eloquently, or you use the right, you can describe how you can bring that solution. People would naturally say, where do I sign on the dotted line?
That's right.
Like, oh my goodness, that is so good. All right, so I want to get into the cohorts, right? Because I know you have a lot of really great nuggets to go into it here. So I know the first thing that you talk about, or one of the things that you talk about, is the growth and abundance mindset. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, 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 yes. This is maybe one of my favorite parts to talk about, and I do believe it is the foundation for success, not just in sales, but really like in our personal and professional lives. So, our world oftentimes operates from a place of scarcity. So there's not enough time, there's not enough resources, there's not enough money, there's not enough clients to go around, there's too many competitors, all those sorts of things, which that mindset drives our behavior and often creates nerves and anxiety, and then we act in a way that's actually not even authentic or like natural for ourselves. So one of the things I talk about is how do we shift to an abundance mindset? So, how do we come from a place that there's more than enough, there's unlimited possibilities, that what's for us can't be taken away? And
Ooh.
there's all kinds of different tools to do that, right? Through journaling and affirmations and vision and goal setting and checking in those goals, not just writing them at the beginning of the year and putting them in a drawer and forgetting about them, but having them someplace that where we can see them. And I have a wonderful training partner named Tawana Thulis, who I call the queen of tools, and is all about focusing on kindness and self-care and abundance and a prosperity. And she comes into our cohorts actually and teaches some of her tools to our cohort members to really have that foundation, right, of abundance. And we all fall into scarcity sometimes, but the trick is to really like notice that we're there and then do something to change it instead of staying there.
That's so phenomenal. That's very powerful. Because you know, one other thing that I've noticed personally is that sometimes it's not even what you're selling. It's the energy that you bring to the table, how you talk to people. That
That's right.
alone just sells it for you, you know. So when you're like, feeling, not yourself, or like you're feeling, scarcity and all of that, like the person you're talking to can actually feel that, and that pushes them away. But when you're genuinely excited and happy and intentional, you want to serve, coming from a place of bringing value, like, that people are attracted to that.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
I 100% believe in the universal law of attraction, right? Where like energy attracts like energy. So if we're coming with that high vibe, the place of wanting to help, the place of wanting to help people like reach their goals and putting that like above our goals, then we're going to attract all that goodness back. And
Yeah.
it's it's the law of attraction, it's the law of reciprocity, right? When we give, we actually get to receive in return. So I think all of that works together beautifully, and like, and you feel great
Yes.
doing it all too.
Yes. Oh my God, this is good.
Yes.
All right. So the second thing is understanding influence.
Yes. Yes. So I like to talk about this one too. So for me, I think sales is really actually all about relationships. I
Mhm.
believe it's about building genuine, authentic relationships and helping one another. And there is actually a psychological practice or study that's about influence and persuasion, and it's about why people say yes. And so much of marketing and sales is based off of actually these psychological principles, but no one actually talks about them or how they work or why they work. So people are just kind of going through the motions. So I like to bring these things to light and talk about them in the cohorts. And they are things like reciprocity, likability, social proof, unity. But I like to talk about them and understand how and why they work, so then we can authentically and intentionally use them instead of kind of
Mm.
just like going through the motions because someone told us in some class sometime, like, you have social proof and you should have great photography and things for your branding. But why does that actually matter? Because there's actually a whole like mental map in our minds that when we see something, we're looking to see if it's attractive to us in a like from an aesthetic and a pleasing way, and is it organized and all those sorts of things, which then attracts folks to us. So that's why you should have your photo in your LinkedIn signature, not because like some manager told you
Yes.
to.
Yes. Yes. I love that intentionality, just being
Yes.
intentional. And I have to say this, I love your brand. I
Oh,
love the colors, really bold. Like, I want everyone watching this to just go on your website and just see what I'm saying, because this is what makes me so happy when you see it so put together. Because, like, Rebecca, look, I know that as small business owners, not every one of us have it together, right? And the bigger companies, they have the money and everything else to do all of these things. But when you see a small business owner like you, like, I don't mean this to be disrespectful, like, you're just like a regular person like you, like me, you know what I mean? And you have it together. It's like, oh, so refreshing, oh. I'm telling you, it's like, because I feel like you were intentional about it, and then you put the effort and you can see the fruit too, So thank you for putting it, your brand.
oh my gosh, that is like a huge compliment, especially coming from you, because I love your work. I mean, we've been kind of stalking each other on LinkedIn for a while, like like a couple years, honestly. And and we were brought together this year through a few different events now. So I know it
Yeah.
was just time for us to meet, but that's a huge compliment, especially from you with your wonderful eye and branding and your ability to help other people like show up as their authentic selves in a really wonderful and comfortable way. And I have to give credit to my marketing partner. So I have a marketing partner The organization is Behind the Screen Marketing. The founder is a wonderful woman named Mariah Oliver, who also happens to be the founder of the Boss Babe Network, who some folks might know about on your that are listening. And so Mariah helped me create my logo. She created my website. We worked together to talk about what colors do I love and what colors do I don't. And she helped me see which ones like had beautiful contrast and things like that. We worked together to pick out like fonts that like had the vibe that I like. We have a wonderful friend named CJ Bryant who does photography. So he went and took some photos for me. Um, like it's a collaboration, right? So I share that to say like, one, you don't have to do it all by yourself. There are organizations out there that can help you. And Mariah founded Behind the Screen Marketing specifically to help solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small business owners to have that like professional, polished, big company feel without the big company like budget, right? So she'll kind of work with you where you're at. A lot like what you do, Victoria, to help people really elevate their side hustles or their passion projects or their new stages of their entrepreneurship. So there's so many places out there. We just got to be willing to ask for help, which I know sometimes it's hard for us, to do, but it's okay.
Right.
Ask for help.
Yeah. Ask for help. So two things I'm gonna say in response to that. Number one, I'm not upset that you didn't use me as your photographer because we didn't know each other at that time. But the
Yes,
next one I'm doing.
that's right.
But then the second thing, I just love how you just plugged this lady effortlessly, without even like, thinking twice about it. And I really appreciate you for doing that. You know what I mean? Because you didn't have to like go into the details of how she does it or who she works with and things like that. So for that, I really appreciate it. I think that people like you are who make it easier for small business owners to thrive and to grow. So thank you so much for doing that.
My pleasure. I think one of my passions is really community, like creating communities that lift while they climb.
Yes.
Because we operate from a place of abundance, Victoria, like it's something like you do this so effortlessly too. I mean, your whole business is built around helping other people level up their business and their success. And there's more than enough. We can all do that for each other. And what a much beautiful place this world will be if we
Absolutely.
all were cheerleaders for one another.
Oh my God. Okay. I know we sidetracked, but that's fine. All right. Let's get back on track. So, number three, it's about engaging an impactful message. Tell us about
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes. So I'm a big subscriber to the Golden Circle series by Simon Sinek. So he's a business professional that's talked about we really need to flip the script on how organizations share their messaging. We talk about what all the time, right?
Mm.
Photography, sales coaching, marketing. There's a million photographers, there's a million sales consultants, there's a million marketers. So that's not our differentiator. What our differentiator is our why. So it's
Oh,
why we're doing what we do. So how do we craft a story that talks about our why, our how, and then our what? So
mm.
it works with folks to go through like the methodology and then to help them like craft that both from kind of a foundational story about your organization and brand, and then also like as an individual too.
That's amazing. Because oh my God, I'm just so I don't know if you can tell, but like I'm like really giddy just having this conversation because I love to do that before I take any photo. I'm having all these questions, asking these questions because it's important for me to understand their why.
That's right.
Because I want to be able to tell that story in photos, But some people, it's harder for some people than the other to like, get to the bottom of it, and just tell you their why. So that's really good. All right. So the next thing is sharing our story, presentation skills.
Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of folks are uncomfortable with presenting. That's my experience through my career and feedback that I've gotten from folks. And I think two things. One, it's more about sharing a story and less about pitching or presenting, right? Stories are how we connect with people, and actually all the science shows that people remember things more
Mm,
like by like 20 some percent more when you share it in like a story format. So that's what resonates. And that's also like how we build connections through emotions, which I already mentioned. Sales is all about relationships, and like we buy both logically and emotionally. So both of those things have to, they have to be in alignment. So it's how you connect there. So the best way to get comfortable doing something is to practice, right?
Yes.
So we have an opportunity to practice. We share with our cohort members. We give and receive feedback, which also allows us to practice active listening. So listening to understand instead of listening to respond, which is also huge in sales, marketing, business growth, entrepreneurship, leadership. So we get to practice a bunch of skills there that sometimes are overlooked in the business community.
That is so, so good. Oh my goodness. All right. The next thing is about networking, getting out, and prospecting.
Yep. So we've got to get out there. Like we can't just sit behind our computers all day long and expect the opportunities to come to us. So this is about how, as individuals, whether you're a business owner, a sales professional, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're, a cosmetologist that wants to build their brand, we have to have a strategy that leverages both sales and marketing tactics. So, like going to networking events, being willing to come on podcasts like this to talk about, and share our expertise with people, leveraging technology. So, tools like LinkedIn, email campaigns, artificial intelligence, chat GPT. We get to put a plan together and then hold ourselves accountable to execute that in a way that's like authentic for us and that will help us meet our business goals. And it's all about being intentional, right? So it's not enough to just like show up at an event and expect us to like, magically rain down clients for us. We have to go to that event with an intention of who are we going to connect with? How are we going to show up? How are we going to engage? What are we willing to do to help other people connect and meet who they want? So we talk about all those sorts of things.
I love that because for me, I'm really big on strategy. I'm like before I do anything, even before I started my business, like I really thought about like the big picture and even some of the smaller details too. How
Yep.
I wanted to people to feel when they had a photo shoot with me, incorporating the magazine and the gala. So like I subscribe wholeheartedly to the idea to have a strategy. It's not like whether that be posting strategy or like networking strategy. Like I feel like we can't just throw the spaghetti on the wall and hope that it sticks. Like you have to know why you're doing it and what you
Yes.
want to get out of it and be intentional about that. And okay, I'm gonna just let you keep talking now. So then
No,
that
I love it. Like we're so on the same vibe. And I think
yes.
these are things that they don't talk about in a lot of the traditional leadership sales, like marketing. They talk about the tactics, but they don't talk about the intentionality, they don't talk about okay, yes, we want to drive numbers, but what kind of experience are we trying to create for other people? And how do we get to show up as our authentic selves? And those are the things that's the magic. The secret sauce is like that unique gifts, personality, talents that we each have. And if we hide that, like we're dimming our light. That's not the way to do it.
That's right. That love that. Okay, so the last one that you go talk about is the deal, the negotiation, and closing tools after the sale.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of final piece of the puzzle, if you will, is um we got to ask the client for the sale, right? And even before that, I like to talk about our mindset around money and resources. A lot of us bring all kinds of mental maps from our childhood, what our parents, our grandparents, the experiences we've had with things like, oh, we don't talk about money. That's not a cool thing. Like, don't talk about money. Or, maybe money grows on trees in the backyard at your house. I'm trying to make that happen at mine. But so we all have these kind of different perspectives about money and what we should and shouldn't do or say or think around it. So I like to again from coming from a place of intentionality, let's examine what our mindset feelings are around money, and then let's remember that when we're negotiating with someone, theirs is not the same experience as ours. So they don't value things, think about things the same that we do. So we need to come from a place of neutrality when we're talking about the money and investments and even like time. That's another resource that, people are always, I'm too busy, I'm too this, I'm too that, that sort of thing, which like that's a whole nother conversation we'll have to talk about another time because but like time is abundant too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and we all have the same amount. So
Mhm.
in a day, right? We have the same amount of
Right, in a day.
um, but
Yes.
so we like to talk about that, and then we talk about how to put a proposal and a presentation together, especially for like a service or professional services based like business. We talk about making sure that we reiterate the value for our clients. In our proposals, it's not enough to just tell them once. That should be all over the place of how we're actually going to help and serve them, what they can expect, what kind of results they can expect from working with us. And we talk about the other considerations that go into a buying decision besides just money and time. So the cost of doing nothing, the cost of that the pain is causing, the cost of like not going with the competition. There's
Mm.
all these how easy or not are we to do business with. All those things go into those decisions. And then last but certainly not least, I really believe that once you close the sale and have them as your client, that's just the beginning.
Oh
So
yes.
that is not the end. That is just the beginning. And so we talk about how do you get to continue to cultivate that relationship,
Mm.
in a big way. And I'm blessed to say that I have clients from 20 years ago that are still in my network, still in my community. We still chat, check in on each other, and they live across the country, now. But I think that's super important, especially for business owners, entrepreneurs, like sales professionals. Is how do you like continue to cultivate those relationships?
Ah, that is so good because I think you're. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Like a lot of people think that once you get that one sale, it's over. But think about the cost of not having to do a whole new ad campaign or whatever it is, to get another lead. When you can just cultivate that relationship so that you can continue to nurture and get more. It's everybody's gaining more as you go on, right? So
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, I want to go back to, sorry, do you have anything to add to that?
No, no, no. Go,
Okay,
no.
okay. I want to go back real quickly to closing the deal, right? I know that for some people, obviously, I recommend taking this cohort by all means, and we'll get to how we can get people to, participate to that. But like, what phrase could you give people as a tip right now that they could use to close the sale? Because some people are just afraid
Mm.
to close the sale, but like what can you give them as a tip, one or two that you can say, okay, maybe include this in your vocabulary to start at least increasing the closed sales that you have.
Yes. Okay. I love this question. Thank you for asking it. And I agree a lot. Sometimes it's just like we just don't know what to say. So I've got a couple pieces of advice. One, keep it simple. Like,
Mm,
let's not overcomplicate this. If you have been, working with this client, you've been getting the information of, what they need help with, where you can serve, they confirm this. Like, you already know the answer is yes. So keep it really simple. You can say something like, "Hey, it sounds like we're really in a line that this is what's going to meet your needs. Can we make this official?" Like I like to say
mm,
something like, if that's not natural for you, don't use those exact words. Say, can we move forward or whatever. But I oftentimes think of like, it's kind of like dating or courting, right? When you're in a sales cycle with a prospect. So I was, can we make it official, or are you ready for me to get the contract ready? So just however what's natural with you, like how can are we ready to move forward? What does that look like, for your organization? So those are kind of my examples. The other tip that I would have is, if, when we're delivering like a proposal, instead of using the word pricing, I like to talk about investment, right? Because I
mm,
think that word denotes like there's a lot more going on here than just like trade of money and time, right?
Yeah.
So from an investment standpoint, I think that helps think about the other value that's happening and what is, what else is being traded beyond just, dollars for a product or service.
That's good. And I like it also because what you touched on is that because you'll be building that relationship, you know that what you're serving or selling is going to meet their need. It should be just a natural, oh, how can we move forward? Because
Mhm.
you know their needs, right? You're not trying to force something they don't need
That's
down their throats, right?
that's right.
They need this. They've seen you've been able to present the value to them, and it's just, oh, good. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That was really, really good. All right. So if anyone is interested in joining this cohort because they need help with sales, understanding the psychology and putting, into practice everything that we've talked about today, how can they reach out? How can they sign up?
Oh, thank you for asking. So I'm going to be hosting one more cohort yet this year. The dates I have not announced them yet, but it's going to start in September, and we'll get them up by the end of next week. But just go to the website. It's our Bormann, Bormann consulting.com, and you can check us out there. If you're looking for help a little sooner than that, I do some one-on-one consulting and also help from like a fractional sales leader capacity. So yeah, just check me out there. I'm also on LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm around. I'm easy to get a hold of.
Right. I know you are definitely on LinkedIn. I feel like you live on LinkedIn, which is good. So definitely they can connect with you down there. I'm gonna make sure that all your links obviously are gonna be in the show notes. But tell us, I know you have an event coming up, the Passion Project.
I
Tell us about
do. I
that.
do. I'm so excited about this one. So thank you for letting me share. So
Oh,
like
thank
as I mentioned in
you.
the beginning, I spent 20 years in the corporate world and tech firms, which are highly male dominated, and also in the sales industry, which is also highly male dominated. So I'm having an event on August 9th at Launch Fishers. It's a mini conference where we're going to talk about what women and our allies need to know to close the gender gap for women in the sales industry. So I've got this killer panel of women professionals in the sales industry, but in insurance, in professional services, in tech, in telecom, coming to share their stories, drop us some knowledge on both like when you're being a woman in the sales industry, things to expect and things you can do, and also what we need from our male allies. It takes
Mm,
us all. It takes us all to like advance and change and lasting change, particularly. So this is not an event just for women. This is an event for all gender identities. And I think what I'm most excited about is beyond being able to have the conversation, there's going to be an opportunity for folks to plug into an organization called Women in Sales. Their
mm,
CEO, her name is Alexine Moudoir, is coming down from Chicago to be at this event and share about their organization. And their whole mission is about advancing equity for women in the sales industries. And they partnered with research organizations, they have corporate partners, and they have a community of well over 10,000 women and male allies in the sales industry that are all working together to figure out what we can do to make pay equity equal, because in the sales industry it is not. Just
mm.
as an example, I have to share this with you, Victoria. So men typically in the sales industry make 2 times on commission what women do. So for an example, a guy sells $1,000 and he gets $100 in commission. A girl sells $1,000, she gets $50. Like,
Wow.
you got to change that. It's the same,
Yes.
it's the same work. So they're doing
Mm,
a lot of research with organizations on some of those pay disparities and commission disparities, and they provide all kinds of different resources and events for women and allies to like plug into to talk about everything from like how to negotiate to, you know, having a community when things have not felt great and you've not felt included, like, having a community that you can talk to. So I'm super excited that she's coming down, and there's a place where everybody that comes to the event can get involved with afterwards to continue to do the work and the conversation. And if you're not in the Indy area, we have virtual options, so you can attend the event virtually. We'll have the panel and Alexine's part streamed live via Zoom.
That's great. I was going to ask that because that's definitely something I strongly encourage everyone to be a part of. I'm definitely joining on to, get my tickets too. So thank you so much for all of that. I really enjoyed that conversation today. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Likewise, I feel like I said, like we said, I feel like we're just sisters from another mister here. It was like just
Yes.
the same spirit. I feel honored that you had me on here, and I love you to death, or life is actually love you to life. I got to stop saying love you to death. I love you to life too.
Right.
So thank you so much. And I'm so excited you'll be joining us for the event too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's it for today's episode, but make sure you come again next week for the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, definitely comment because I want to hear. I know this is going to be a really hot topic, and I know a lot of people are going to have feedback. So please comment. Let's make sure we get the engagement going. I know Rebecca is really excited to connect with you on LinkedIn or over here. Please do that, and yeah, have a great rest of your day.